Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot and welcome to your new moon readings for the new moon in Cancer, 10th of July GMT, like really early in the morning, 1 in the morning, so 9th of July for a lot of the rest of the world. Now, as ever, this is a bulk introduction. I'm going to discuss a little about the moon beforehand because, oh God, I've got so much to say. But there is a timestamp in the description down below if you want to fast forward to your reading or if you are watching more than one. Because I would say, as ever, watch your sun, your rising, and your moon, to be honest. But the moon one is sort of a more internal process, or at least one would assume. But the other thing with this is a general reading. General reading rules apply, so timing's not absolute. If someone else appears in the reading, you can get them mixed up because I'm seeing actions and energies. I don't put a lot of stock in that, but I can see how it can happen. But more importantly, what I would like you to do is ask a question. Now, if you don't have one yet, watch my little waffle about the moon, and that might inspire one. But if you are aware of one, pause the video if you need to. Think about all of the questions that are around you at the moment and focus on one of them. But be aware of all of them because cards will answer what they want. There's, obviously, as a YouTube channel, please hit that like button while you're here, or if you like my analysis of the moon and the new moon events, let's put it that way, then hit that subscribe button. There will be more and they are only going to get better because, as I say, I am not an astrologer. I am learning this stuff, but my God, it doesn't end and it's fascinating. So I want to thank you to all returning subscribers, and also point out that I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher about the astrology from a Hellenistic, with David from a Hellenistic astrology point of view. And just remember, it's a general reading I'm about to do here. Don't give away your power. If the reading is for you, which there's a past and a present always, well, actually this time it's more of just a present. But if the present doesn't fit, don't try and make it fit. Now, this time I've been led to use the Steampunk Tarot. Now, I've actually got 3 decks called the Steampunk Tarot, but this is a big box one from Tuttle by John and Caitlin Matthews. And the more I work with this particular deck, the more interesting it gets because it's got elements of, whereas the in-between tarot has sort of the space in between each card, this one, the minor arcana seem to be combinations, like a combination of wands and pentacles, or a combination of cups and swords, or a combination of the other 2 ways of doing it, which my brain's gone completely blank for a second there. But anyway, like I say, if you're wanting to get a personal reading from me, there is a link in the Facebook, in the description, a link for the Facebook page down below. Let's get my words in order. You can contact me there directly because it has got an inbox. There's a link tree down there if you prefer another way. Facebook's really the best way to do it. Right, let's get on about this moon. You'll have to forgive me. I'm going to stop looking at the camera. I'm not used to having it quite so close. So as I look at the screen, you're going to really notice the difference. So this new moon is occurring in 18 degrees Cancer, 18 degrees and 1 minute. So there's an element of numerology 9, rebirth, or at least I always see 9 as rebirth. If you think about how you collapse numbers in numerology, the 9 always disappears, but it's always there. It never really leaves. It's like this supreme force behind each number. Now, 18 degrees Capricorn is within the arc of the angel Yael, or the Goetic spirit Ipos. Let me just change pages so I've got the notes up here, and of course I haven't written anything about Epos. That was clever of me. But by day it is ruled by the Goetic spirit Goujon, or by night Vual. Now Vual reveals the past, the present, and the future. You know, he reconciles enemies and brings love to a relationship. In medieval, wonderfully sexist speak, it says the love of a woman to a man. He creates friendships and ensures esteem. He knows all and can manipulate time. That I'm, if you've seen my videos before, you know I'm fascinated with what time is on a spiritual level as well as a physics level and everything. Now, the themes that I'm pulling from this new moon, you know how I say that I don't like doing relationship readings. Well, astrology and this new moon has told me to wind my neck in, because this new moon's very much about partnerships. It's in Cancer, it's about the home and family, but it's all forms of partnerships. So between you and a significant other, between you and your friends, between you and your rulers, elected representatives, however you want to say it. And there's a lot of themes about research, and this is all seen in the symbols for 18 degrees Cancer. But just in having a look at the partnerships theme to start off with, in the Astrology Hub podcast, Anne Ortley pointed out that Juno, the wife of Jupiter, the planet of marriage vows, you know, among other things, is retrograde at the moment and is on the South Node. So traveling in the same direction as the South Node. It's funny that Jupiter's gone retrograde, but Juno was already there. Jupiter's there, going back, chasing after her. And Anne said that this would indicate that there could be quite a few partnerships coming to an end. There's more on that, because Saturn is opposite the asteroid Hera, who, again, that's the Greek form of Juno. So again, there's the matter of vows and marriage and loyalty, opposing Saturn, where Saturn is strong and likes to say no. So there's that element of, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. This vow, this contract, this agreement, it's not serving us. We need to do it differently. Now, I'm not saying that that means things are coming to an end, just the way things have been going so far is coming to an end. That can be good. It doesn't necessarily mean a massive breakup, because Chiron, is it still in Aries or is it in Taurus? I think it's in Taurus now. Let me just check with my chart that's up. I'm sure it's in Taurus. Yes, it is. Right, so Chiron in Taurus is parallel. Now, parallels work like a conjunction. Chiron in Taurus is parallel Orpheus and Vesta. So there's wounding and healing and instruction to be had regarding the matters of unrequited love with Orpheus, and diving into the underworld, of course. And with Vesta, matters about the home. And you need to check the other astrologer videos about, especially Anastasia, Cosmic Astrologer, for a real in-depth look at Vesta during this new moon period. Sappho. Now, Sappho was a poet in ancient Greece, and she was a servant of Aphrodite. She's, as an asteroid, is very much about artistic abilities, sexual expression, and in Aquarius, Sappho likes to shock. Now, bear in mind that this, for the shock element, this Mars square Uranus, although the actual square is fading now, it's like 3.5 degrees going on 4 degrees arc, Mars is still parallel. So there's that Mars conjunct Uranus energy going on through the parallel. And we saw, wasn't it, January the 6th, that was Mars conjunct Uranus. So there's certainly energy for one partner to shock another. But with Chiron's presence with the Orpheus and Vesta, this can be a a healing thing. That healing thing is also we are enveloped. Um, Apollo, I forget what sign Apollo is because I haven't written it down here. But Apollo is opposing Aesculapia, which I'm assuming represents Aesculapius. So there's the god of healing, and then his, I think he's Asclepius, sorry, is his grandson. And he was given to be the earthly expert on healing by Apollo. So with those opposing one another, they're both working towards healing, and I don't think that they're actually working at odds against one another. They are enveloping the whole zodiac in a way of creating the opportunity for some healing. Now, if we look at the symbols, the Sabian symbol, Cancer 19, because 18 degrees Cancer is the 19th degree of Cancer, a priest performing a marriage ceremony. And it talks about the ritualization of productive interpersonal relationships. But also, another interpretation that I was reading talks about how marriage is, in a way, a tool of civilization to promote some form of conformity. Civilization promotes conformity to bring all facets of light into alignment. Before civilization began to take shape, there weren't any priests, ceremonies, or contracts for sexual relations. Civilization actually, by its very nature, promotes conformity, and it can create bondage and deny individuality. It is structured by laws and moral codes with penalties. So this is something that you can take advantage of, or here may well be something that will get challenged with that Mars-Uranus energy, because it's interesting that Mars being semi-sextile the moon, they can't officially see one another when they're next to one another like that. So it's quite possible that they will be working not necessarily at cross purposes, but pursuing totally different agendas. Now, I also want to say that there's a big note about research. Let me see, the Charabel degree is a man with a very old looking book before him. It has the appearance of Sonic Ancient Record. I think that might be a misprint here that I've got, but that's what it says, Sonic Ancient Record. But the book denotes a studious person, and 18 degrees Cancer, if you have that in your chart. It can denote a studious person, a profound thinker, one capable of grappling with abstruse studies. And it's study for the sake of study rather than study in order to publish or to be heard or to be a renowned expert. But there's a lot of expertise getting unleashed. This is backed up by the Kosminski degree symbol, which is an old man sitting alone in semi-darkness with an old book before him from which emanate bright rays of light. So there's this search for the truth within this 18 degrees Cancer degree, which I think is absolutely beautiful and very, very needed, especially during this time where partnerships and agreements are, well, astrologically under pressure. But if you look at the relationship of the moon to the rulers, the south node is being ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is strong at the moment. It's in Pisces, it's at home, but it's starting to move retrograde. It's like the last gasp of this period of Jupiter in Pisces. And that implies, I think we'll be discussing this with David, but it implies that leadership can be doubted, that there can be a lot of force from the people of wanting to know the true facts, but again with a healing level, because I've just noticed as I'm going through this, the Safarial degree symbol, now I don't know what that first word is, and escutcheon Right, I don't know what an escutcheon is. I'm assuming it is some form of shape containing a harp and a gauntlet. Now, I'm really drawn to that harp because that's the symbol of Apollo. That's the symbol that Apollo uses. Okay, that's with his music, but harp, lyre, it's reinforcing that influence of Apollo. And Apollo is also a god of truth, which reinforces those other degree symbols I was saying. So here, the Sapphire degree symbol says it denotes a person of noble aspirations and refined tastes. As an interpreter of others' works, he would shine. In the character, there is a particular mixture of gentleness and irritability, of playfulness and gravity, which can render the native of this degree more difficult to deal with. So that's from a natal interpretation, but we're seeing this same vibration of let's get to the truth, let's check all the agreements, and let's cancel the ones that are useless and cancel the ones that are rubbish. Now, if that has not, because I could talk for a lot longer about this, but if that has not given you fuel for a question, if you didn't have one already, then well, I don't know what will. Because we're always, it's human nature, isn't it? Is this partnership good for me? Whether it's between us and our employer, our partner, our leaders. I mean, hell, we get to test that ever so often, hopefully, while voting rights, well, when voting rights are available. So ask your question, take that moment. Thank you very much for watching so far and watching my blurb. And if you have any comments on the reading or on the astrology aspect, well, astrology, then comment down below. I always try to respond as fast as I can, so you get a response within a day. Anyway, I think I've talked for long enough. I'll bring up the cards. Okay, Taurus, there's quite a strong message coming through here, which is basically saying stay still during all of the crazy and victory will be yours. So I want to emphasize that. Stay still during all the crazy and you will emerge victorious. Now, there's some news that has arrived that it is all at once exciting and it's challenging and it's rule breaking. Now, whether that means it's the rules of the structures around you, I think with the fact that the tradition and authority is what's standing against you progressing here, it's against your rules. And this is not something that you're unaware of. We have as how you are feeling the time machine, which is basically, that's the Wheel of Fortune. But with it being the time machine, of course, me being a geek, it immediately brings me to mind of redefinition of events, of what you hold to be true, of what you hold to be constant. And from the Energy Oracle, the big card, we've got rest and rejuvenation. So there's that, just remain still, just remain calm. And that is clarified from my little Angel Oracle, cheap reprint, with the Broken Heart card. So things, I'm reminded of a story. I'm going to have to, back 20 years ago, I was part of a theatre company and what have you. Beautiful sunny day, wandering through the streets of York, happy, smiling to myself. I was, like I say, I was working as an actor and dancer and loving it. I was working as a professional tarot reader at the time as well. And these two lads, very smartly dressed, you know, shirts, ties. I mean, they must have been sweltering on that day. It was beautiful, sunny. Stopped me to say, oh, you look very happy, you know, we're really pleased for you, which was a bit weird. But So conversation swiftly moved on to them saying to me, well, do you know that we're living in a very special time? Now then, I was going through one of my various awakening stages at this point, and I was full of New Age channelings, Celestine prophecy, which is what got me to York in the first place. Um, the end of the Mayan calendar was on the horizon, and now that'd have been after we had allegedly entered the photon belt and all that sort of thing. So I was full of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I still believe all that New Age claptrap, but I also am aware that it can be a load of New Age claptrap. There's any belief taken too far has its own dangers. So, I believe it 100%, but I also have a truckload of salt in the wings. But anyway, turns out these two lads were a pair of Jehovah's Witnesses. But there was me telling them about, some of the New Age philosophies and how we're, getting more in touch with our heart chakras and soul chakras and connection with God and Christ consciousness and blah, 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 blah. And so one of them was going, oh, really? 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 And the other one was, it's not what the elders say. It's not what the elders say. And specifically this card reminded me of that moment of, it's not what the elders say. And you can tell there was this whole does not compute, that is not what the elders say. But there's an element in you already that's, I want to say, there, as much as, you're a fixed sign, your time, I think, according to Anne Ortley with the Saturn Uranus square, your time to make decisions and start moving is the third hit of that Saturn Uranus square, which is what night, as Rick Levine calls it, Christmas Eve. Whereas I think first the cardinal signs were hit first and they started moving. The mutable signs have been booted with this last one couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. And then at the end of the year, the fixed signs get dragged kicking and screaming, going, you will change. And there's that awareness of that you will change with this card. Because I've also got... like the patter of a roulette table. What do you call the guy in the bow tie that throws the ball? Something, and where it stops, nobody knows. And I think that there's that element of and where it stops, nobody knows attitude going on in you intellectually or maybe even emotionally, but it's not what the elders say. It's not how things have been done. So there is that. I haven't done things this way before. So there's still that sort of. But the way you have been doing things before has developed some form of wound, hurt, pain, or sorrow. I think sorrow is probably the better term. I'm going to go with sorrow because of that idea of redefinition that this Wheel of Fortune time machine gives me. But with all the crazy that's going on around you, I mean, you've got someone around you really trying to... Well, there's two things I get from this Emperor card. One, someone trying to lay the law down to you. But secondly, also someone opening up a whole new world for you, a whole new empire for you. Here's where you can have some... Well, the first word that springs to mind is authority. But I want to say that this is not sort of like the rich kid coming into higher management in daddy's firm. It's not that sort of authority. It's authority based on, look, you're good at this stuff, so let me give you the place where you being good at this stuff will mean you succeed. There's no point, for instance, being really good at working as a nuclear physics technician if you're working in a cattery. You know, it's horses for courses. So there's that idea of getting plonked into the right place where you get to excel because of expertise and because of practices, knowledge that you already have and that you maybe haven't been able to use before or haven't been able to use in this fashion. So it's a bit double-edged here. So there's, I think, this offer of coming into a new empire or a place where you have authority or expertise, however you want to call it. The very fact of that offer is that bit that makes you go, not what the elders say. But I feel that it is a good thing that you can ensure that what you are entering into is, well, what's coming from these cards is fair and just. We've got the Ace of Swords, Ace of Airships on the bottom of the deck, and the Archangel Michael, where I stand for justice and truth and I live from my integrity. And that's where, in a way, if you're standing still already, it's very easy for a Taurus to continue standing still because you take time to get moving. And when you are moving, you take time to stop. Now, you need to take the time to get moving, because that rest and rejuvenation, I think there's an element of being able to just sit back and watch the things fall into place. And the reason that I say that, from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, we have Poyel with Fame and Fortune, and underneath her, Gremory with Self-Made Person. So, you know, they are not contrary to one another. They are something that they are working together nicely. When you've got Spirit bringing in Six of Engines, Six of Wands, the Victory Parade, the look at the fireworks, the throne or symbolism that this character is stood before you. He's about to rouse a crowd into whatever it is that he's actually talking about. So, but it's new. It's new being in this situation, but it is a new authority. And how you measure it, we have from the Enchanted map the Bone Collector. Now, this is about well, how can I put it? This is about adhering to the way that things were. Again, like this Horologer or the Hierophant, basically, would be in opposition. It's adhering to the way that things were. Because, but let's be honest, how things were didn't, well, it didn't do what it said on the tin. Whatever promise you had been made or that you made, it didn't quite do what it said on the tin. It didn't bring you that joy, that happiness, that sense of love. It gave you a sense of exploration. And that's the other thing with the going into this new environment where your authority is recognized by the value of who you are and what you've done. I mean, yeah, you're scared that it's a complete new beginning, but it is. It's not a bad thing. And it's opening a huge gateway for you. But there's this authority of who you are and what you've done. You've been doing the exploration, and that is what has given you this authority to go into this new environment. Let me, where have I put the book? Oh, no, gone straight past it. Right. When the Bone Collector appears, she is asking you to look closely at your circumstances to see if you're fully present or reacting out of past conditioning and unconscious expectations. That's what so that whole, I've not done this before, I can't, it's not the way that I've done things before, this is out of the standard procedure. is actually going to be useful for you. We have from the Angelarium Gabriel, angel of herald, so it's bringing that news to you, like you are delivering the news with the Six of Engines. You have the chance to make a commitment to something. Four of Engines, Four of Wands here on the bottom, and you are going to. So this is a future, the period you're going into, and it's the Comet card, which basically that's the star card in this deck. So one thing that there's that sense of wisdom coming in, there's that sense of success, reach for the stars, but it's a comet. Oh my God, we're all going to die. It's doom. Yeah. And some things will be destroyed by what you are doing. And I don't mean that in the terms of buildings or somebody's life or somebody something like that. It's that past structures will get destroyed, and that's a good thing because you're moving into a new structure. Now, as you probably saw if you watched the shuffle video, plenty of cards came out for the final conclusion. I've not even drawn any, I don't need any clarification cards for this reading, really, because we have Seven of Engines, Seven of Wands, becoming an equal with your peers, encountering your peers, working with your peers, having the resources to take a stand about something. This is the interesting thing, because there's an element of, even though you are to stand still while the crazy subsides, or while the crazy does what crazy does, there is this sense of, as was brought up here, that you are taking a stand while also being able to rest as you do so, because you have that sense of this is the right thing. Even though it feels weird, you are setting something right, you are enacting the justice card somehow. Then Captain of Engines, which, my favourite card, King of Wands. So capability here and scope that you're going to have a lot more resources than what you are expecting, ones that you see the value in and that you will be quite secure with. So this is opening up. If you take the new thing, yeah, that's what I should call the reading, take the new thing. But if you take the new thing, you are able to do that redefinition that you are wanting to do. But bear in mind, if you redefine things, it means the way you do things has to change. Otherwise, this redefinition doesn't occur. But that redefinition offers so much positivity here. So much, that sense of victory, that sense of committing to something that you want, that sense of getting to a place where you want to be. Now, I'm not saying that's the end of the journey, not by a long chalk, but it's getting there. That's pretty, and you're making a name for yourself here in whatever field it is. You're making a name for yourself somehow. Whether that's within just a small group of people or on the national stage, who knows, who cares? Because when all said and done, you're staying still while the crazy subsides. So, it's just, there is an element of this can all come to you. The responsibility with you is that you grab it when it does, because it's going to feel weird and it's going to feel out of character, even though you fully believe in the reasons for doing it. So if that means anything to you, Taurus, comment down below. I'm really interested to see if this reading means anything for somebody. But then again, it is more predictive than not. So it's telling you about stuff that maybe this offer has come to you already. But if it does, grab it, because you're getting the chance to use the skills that you've been building yourself. Not that you've learned through this job or that job or the other job. Your own personal fascination, your own personal interest is what is giving you this authority. So, yeah, like I say, comment down below. don't forget to watch your moon and your rising, especially your rising. And of course, there's always the show that I do with David about the astrology this full moon. So David will be able to tell us whether we can actually use this to make our dreams come true, or at least, take that step closer towards it. All right. Cheers.